In this video, we're talking about a marginal risk of severe weather for many in the U.S. over the next several days. Cool air is in place across the southeastern United States, keeping most of the intense May weather at bay. But as always, the end of May may end with a bang. Welcome back, y'all. Ryan Hall here with the weather forecast. Once again, I'm glad to be back here behind the monitors. I could literally write a whole novel about everything that's happened over the past couple weeks, but I'm not going to. We're actually just going to sit here and we're going to talk about the weather. Let's get right into it. All right, here's a big old look at the United States of America. And as you can see, it's pretty quiet out there right now. We do have a little marginal risk area here for Nebraska and Kansas today. We are expecting some showers and thunderstorms to pop up, and some of those could be severe, with the main threat being large hail and maybe some isolated damaging winds here and there from Garden City all the way up through the I-70 and I-80 corridors in Nebraska and Kansas. But other than that, it's pretty quiet out there, and we can take a better look at that on the weather models. All right, here's a look at the NAM model. This is kind of like a simulated radar. That's what we're going to use it as anyways. We're going to see what the radar could look like as we go later on into the day. The date and time are always going to be available right up there above my head. Remember, that's in Eastern Standard Time, okay? A lot of what I'm going to be talking about is going to be over here in Central, but I live in the Eastern Time, so yeah, you bear with me. All right, here we are around 11 a.m. today, and as you can see, it still looks pretty quiet out there. We do have this belt of moisture that's going over the southeastern part of the United States. Like I said in the intro, we've got this area of cool air that has just locked in place down here, and all of our moisture is just kind of riding that belt over Florida. That's why we're seeing a lot of rain down here today, tomorrow, and yesterday. You guys that live in Florida, you know all about the rain. That's going to continue for a little while as this air mass just keeps that moisture down to the south. Now remember, we're in the middle of May. This is peak severe weather season in the United States, but one of the reasons we're not seeing all these severe weather outbreaks over and over again is because this moisture is locked down here. If it was available, or if it was able to come up into the midwestern part of the United States, into the Great Plains over here, there's plenty of cold air in place up here, we would be talking about multi-day severe weather outbreaks out here. Now, some of that moisture and some of that warmth is going to try to come up, and we are going to be talking about multiple instances of severe thunderstorms out here, but we're not talking about any widespread severe weather outbreaks right now. I do think that's going to change, and we'll talk about that more here in a second, but for now, let's just take a look at the weather forecast. Let's put this radar into motion, and let's see what the future's going to look like, okay? As you can see, around 8 p.m. today, we're going to have those bigger thunderstorms popping up here in Nebraska and South Dakota, and those are going to move to the south and east, and that's why we do have that marginal risk for severe weather today in Nebraska and Kansas. Once again, that's going to be later today that's going to be expected. As you can see, dew points aren't very high, but there is this little nose of, warmer and more moist air that's coming up here, and whenever that nose, the top of it, reaches some of that more cooler and drier air up here, there is going to be a little convective linear system of storms that tries to pop up and then move off to the south and east. And, once again, if you live in Nebraska or Kansas, especially in the more western regions, be on the lookout for that today and tonight. That's right, in the dark. I don't think we're going to have any naders in the dark. All right, the nader threat is low today, but we are going to be talking about some thunderstorms tonight, so just be on the lookout for that. Here's a look at our convective energy. This is like the fuel in the atmosphere that thunderstorms need to form, and we do have a little bit out there. We're around 1,000 to 1,500 joules per kilogram of CAPE out there in Nebraska and Kansas late tonight. So once again, we're going to see some thunderstorms. How strong they're going to be is still up in the air, but it doesn't look like they're going to be too bad. All right, let's keep pushing that forward, and you can clearly see how that dives to the south and east. And around 8 a.m. tomorrow, those storms will be in the Kansas City region, but really there's just going to be heavy rain showers at that point. We're not expecting too much down there at all. And we're going to keep playing this out. We're going to keep pushing it forward, and as you can see, once again, that area of moisture, those slightly higher dew points are still trying to creep their way up through Texas and Oklahoma into the Nebraska and Kansas region, and every day during the heating of the day, storms are going to try to pop up on the western edge of that, okay? And that's what we're going to see again tomorrow in western Nebraska, eastern Colorado, and those are going to move east as well into Kansas. And once again, this is tomorrow, Friday, May 14th at 8 p.m. We're going to see some stronger thunderstorms form over here and move off to the east. And look at that. We could actually be talking about a pretty significant heavy rain and isolated, big-time thunderstorms in Kansas tomorrow night into early Saturday morning, okay? And once again, there is a marginal risk for severe weather with these as well. I do think that these storms have to be watched a little bit more than the storms today. There's a little bit more energy out there for them to work with. If we roll back and take a look at the convective energy for that, look at here, we're talking about 2,500, maybe even 3,000 joules per kilogram of CAPE, convective available potential energy out there with these storms. So once again, I do think that a little bit more of that moisture, a little bit more of that energy is going to be able to make it up for these storms tomorrow. So if you live in western Kansas, eastern Colorado, right in that region, watch out tomorrow, because we could have some big time hailstones, cloud to ground lightning, and maybe even some damaging winds out there. Once again, the tornado threat doesn't look like it's going to be that crazy, but it's May in Kansas, so never let your guard down. All right, let's keep pushing her forward, son. And as you can see, those storms go all the way over into Missouri once again. And it does look like maybe during the heating of the day on Saturday, we could see some thunderstorms in Missouri and northern Arkansas. But once again, I don't think we're going to expect anything crazy out there. It's going to rain. And then once again, during the heating of the day on Saturday, on that western edge of that insurgence of moisture, we're going to see some more storms pop up, this time in the panhandle of Texas and Oklahoma. Once again, in eastern Colorado, maybe southwestern Kansas down here, and maybe all the way up into Wyoming and Nebraska. Once again, we're just going to have this big boundary between cooler air and warmer, moister air, and we're just going to see these storms pop off over and over again. And those storms could also be a little bit more significant. This is at 11 p.m. on Saturday, May 15th. As you can see, those dew points are a lot higher at this point, because finally, that Gulf moisture is trying to make its way into the Central Plains. So these storms are going to have a little bit more to work with here. Also, CAPE values are approaching 3,000 joules per kilogram at this point. So each day we go into the future, the severe weather threat's going to be ticked up just a little bit, okay? This actually might be a day where we see it upgraded to a slight risk of severe weather, with that big hail and straight line damaging wind threat increasing significantly if the models continue to show this much energy out here for Saturday. And once again, these storms right here in the panhandle of Texas, those are the ones to watch the most, I think. And then we're going to keep playing that forward. Those are going to move off to the east. And then that's as far as we can go with the simulated radar there. On Sunday, May 16th at 2 o'clock p.m., we've got a lot of rain out here from Iowa down into eastern Nebraska, all through Missouri, eastern Kansas, much of Oklahoma, and southeastern Texas, and maybe even western Kentucky and Tennessee and Illinois and Indiana down here dealing with some rain as all of this convection moves off to the east. But once again, we've got a weird situation where we've got the warmer and moist air over here and then cooler air on this side. So, there's really not a lot of energy for these to feed into as they move off to the east. So if you live over here, I don't think we're going to have any big time severe weather threat anytime soon. What we expect to happen is this warm, moist air is going to move off to the east just a little bit, and then a cooler air mass is going to form back here. And then along that boundary, we're going to see some big time storms form in late May, and those may actually move to the east and cause some severe thunderstorm problems a little bit further into the east, in the Ohio Valley, the Tennessee Valley, the deep south, and maybe even all the way up into the northeast. All right, let's take a look a little bit further into the future now on the Euro model. Okay, how long has it been since we've used the Euro model? Usually we've got so much going on in the short term that we don't even look at the long term. But today we're going to look as far out as we can here on the Euro model. And what we're going to be looking for is, once again, we're looking for this area of moisture in the Gulf of Mexico. We're looking for its ability to come up into the Central Plains. That's this time of year. That's basically the number one thing you look for when we're looking for big time severe weather outbreaks. And they are coming, guys. Every May we have severe weather. I mean, that's like the United States of America in May. Severe weather, it's coming, all right? But what we've got to wait for is for this cooler, drier air to get the heck out of here and allow for this moisture to come up into the Central Plains. You'll see, sometimes during our biggest severe weather setups, you'll see these deep oranges make it all the way up into Canada, and that just allows for all of this area to be super moist. And then anytime we get a little shortwave to come through and interact with it, we get big time thunderstorms. So let's see what happens here as we put this into motion. You can see that moisture does actually really quickly move up into the central part of the United States and even into the southeastern portion of the United States by May 20th. Okay, we are expecting some dew points all the way up in the 60s to be reaching into Manitoba and Ontario, maybe even into Saskatchewan there by May 20th. And once again, I think that the end of May is going to be really active with severe weather, and it's because of this pattern that's setting up. We're going to have warm, moist air over here, cool, dry air over here. Right along that boundary, you'll see storms form, and then we'll have multi-day severe weather outbreaks as they move to the east. So there you go. There's your big warm nose of very moist air on May 22nd. Pretty much all of the eastern part of the United States is going to be warm and moist. Once again, I do think that that last week of May, or at least from the 20th on, is going to be active, where we have severe weather day after severe weather day. I'm probably going to be live streaming a lot, and I'll probably even be going out there and storm chasing again. I'm very excited to get out there for that. And yeah, so let's claw it back here a little bit, and let's go look at the placement of the thunderstorms. Okay, so this is the instantaneous flash rate. I love to look at this. This kind of looks like a simulated radar, but it's not going to be this intense. Basically, what this shows us is where dense areas of lightning strikes are likely as we go into the future, and where we have dense areas of lightning, we probably have severe thunderstorms, right? So as you can see, the biggest areas here on Sunday are going to be kind of where we were looking at on the NAM model. And let's watch this as we go forward, and you can see on late Sunday, once again on that western hinge of that warm nose and that moist area of air, we get another area of thunderstorms that pops up over here on Sunday in the panhandles of Texas and Oklahoma, all the way up into Kansas. Once again, looks like those could be pretty intense. And we do have, a lot of CAPE coming up here. So, pretty much all the ingredients are in place for pretty much every day out here in the Midwest, especially in Oklahoma and Kansas and Texas down here. We're going to see storms fire up, okay? We don't have a ton of moisture. We don't have that, short wave coming through to interact with it. So I don't think we're going to be talking about widespread severe weather and tornadoes and stuff, but every single day we're going to have big time storms forming up on the western side of Texas and on the, the eastern front range of the Colorado or the Rocky Mountains, and that's going to move east. Like every day, it's going to just keep going over and over again. And then you can see that here on the instantaneous flash rate. It looks like Texas just gets inundated with, big storms over and over again. And then, around May 22nd, this is when I think we'll start to see those storms, affect this area a little bit more rather than just down here, okay? Another thing we're going to look at is just temperatures, okay? It's pretty warm out there for most of us. There's a little bit of a cold air damming going on down here in the Appalachian Mountains. But for the most part, we're going to be warm out here in the United States, except for maybe up here in New England and the Northeast. But watch what happens as I push this forward. If you watch closely, you can see this area of warm air kind of like doing a cartwheel like this, okay? Watch the northern edge of the warm air up here as I push this forward. You see how it's kind of getting, kind of flipped over? That is what I expect is going to continue to happen. There's going to be a cooler and drier air mass settle in down here, and the warmer and more moist air is going to settle in down here, okay? And I think that's going to happen at the end of May. But, the good news is it doesn't look like we're going to have any more Arctic blasts. No more, big time areas, cool air coming in. As you can see on May 22nd, we're all in the 70s and 80s pretty much, except for in the extreme northwestern and northeastern parts of the United States. It's warming up, it's moistening up, and it's gonna storm up, son. I'm back and so are the storms. Sorry for looking so disheveled today, guys. I thought it was a good idea to work out directly before coming up here and making this video. You gotta get in shape to be able to outrun the tornadoes while you're out there storm chasing. But I didn't realize it would carry over into the videos there. But anyways, thank you for watching. Thanks for sticking with me. There's like 60,000 of you guys. I appreciate all of you for subscribing, and I especially appreciate all the members that we have. Thanks for bearing with me over the last week. I know I haven't posted a lot, but I should be back. I should be here in this seat from now on, okay? Nothing should come up to, ruin what we have going on. I've got a lot of plans for this channel. I've got a lot of new stuff coming out. So thank you for being here. Make sure you like, subscribe, and all that good stuff. And I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.